This is Back Talk by Successful Black Parenting Magazine, the most listened to podcast for parents by parents.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Back Talk, the talk show for parents. Our hashtag for the show is hashtag Back Talk. You can go to our Facebook page. Make sure you check out some of our podcasts there. We're also on Twitter and on Instagram. You can go to our website and find our podcast there, as well as here on Anchor. Our website is successfulblackparenting.com. Please let everyone know about these podcasts. Share them far and wide. You'll be helping us out tremendously. But thank you for listening. So today I do not have a guest, which is fine. We're going to do some of these. I have committed to doing these once a week, guest or no guest. So you can tune in whenever you can. But Fridays are when I will be doing these about this time. And I want to talk about some of the things that happen in the news because I'm very opinionated. I'm not going to say anything different, but my opinions usually lean toward the underdog, and it also leans toward protecting our children. So that's where I will always probably land. And in the news, which tickles me a little bit this week, was a mother. I call her Pit Bull. Let's call her Pit Bull Mom. And she went up to the school because her child was being bullied. And, bullying is in the news a lot lately. Bullying is out of control in schools to the point where parents are actually trying to, or they are homeschooling their children. Schools are opening up that are small from homeschoolers. It's just because of the bullying. And bullying can take a toll on children. We just did an article in Successful Black Parenting Magazine called Black Children and Mental Illness, What to Do. And what we found, the shocking thing is that Black youth suicide is epidemic. It's out of control right now to the point of where the Black Caucus, the National Black Caucus, came together to declare it an emergency, a national emergency. Children ages 5 to 12, especially 5 to 11, that age range, they're at the most risk for suicide. Did you hear what I said? Ages 5, that's kindergarten, are at risk to kill themselves. And as you know, we've had several news articles come out in the press and the mass media about this very thing happening. The youngest of our children are killing themselves because of bullying. We also did an article titled, Is Your Child the Bully? Is your child the bully? And you can find these on our website at successfulblackparenting.com. You need to really check. I know we all think that our child cannot be the bully, or cannot do those types of things. But only way you can find out is to ask them certain questions. Are you a leader? Are you a follower? Have you seen bullying? Are you picking on anyone? Is there anyone you don't like? Those types of things you need to be asking on a regular basis. Not only ask them, but ask their friends. Ask their friends. Because they're going to tell you what they want you to hear, right? So you need to talk to their friends and find out what's going on. So one parent gave me a great tip because I forgot all about this. And I used to be a teacher too. And I've seen this. So what the kids do to communicate in school is to use Google Docs, the online documents for Google Docs, DOC, which is shareable amongst their friends. So they can share it with their friends and they can comment on the side with a live chat. Check that. That's where they'll be talking about it. Not necessarily on their phone text, but on Google Docs, DOCS, Google Docs. Check those. So some of the advice we gave to find out if your child is the bully is to basically start at home. Check yourself. Look in the mirror. What kind of language is going on in the home? If you're having aggressive language or aggressive behavior happening in the home, domestic violence? Is there name calling? Do you put yourself down in front of your children? Do you argue? Should you be in counseling? Are you telling children what they should and should not be doing or saying in school? These are the things that you need to just check yourself with. Do you even know who your children hang out with? I mean, the things that kids are getting away with right now, you wonder sometimes, where are the parents? Don't be one of those people where we're asking, where are you? Make sure you are there. Even if you think you're there, make sure you double dip and make sure you're there. Because we have kids right now. I just saw someone post about 8 to 11-year-olds beating up a woman and robbing her. Come on. 8 to 11. I saw something where a 15-year-old was jealous of a brown skinned student who was new to school because he saw the brown skinned student with his girlfriend and beheaded him 3 years ago when we were just finding out about this case. But kids are capable of horrific things. You don't want your child to fall into any of those categories. The whole thing about bullying is the lack of empathy for other people, the lack of being able to walk in another person's shoes, to know what they're going through, to feel what they feel. How do you develop empathy in young children? And we'll talk about that. I'll try to get back to that whole topic about empathy, because I believe once you have empathy and you instill that in your child, they can't do those things. They can't, because they feel what other people feel. But let's talk about some other ways to find out if your child is the bully. You talk to your children, and you need to do that on a daily basis before they go to school, when they come home from school. Are you a bully or are you a bystander? Most children are bystanders. They sit back. When I was a teacher at the high school, one of the things that I noticed that was far-reaching is that almost every child, every student, I should say, would pull out their cell phone whenever a fight started. They would film it. And you would find it later on Instagram, Snapchat, but they would film it from various angles. They would even come and show me in my classroom, because I would be worried. I was like, what happened to one of my students? You want to see Miss Celeste? Here you go. And I'm looking, I'm like, oh my God. There were at least 2 times where I had to jump into a pile of students and pull them off of each other. There was one time I had to be like a protective shield over one student who was getting beaten by another student, and I happened to open my door and see it, and I got in between the two, which I don't know what I'm thinking half the time when I do those kind of things, but I have this mom mentality to protect my students. And so without thinking about my own personal safety, I have at least put myself into danger 2, maybe 3 times to protect my students. And that's the reason I'm not teaching today, because if you start thinking about these things with all the lockdowns and shootings, and you look at what you're getting paid to do it, and the pay isn't worth it. Even if those things weren't going on, the pay really isn't there. You have to be dedicated for other reasons to be a teacher today. You really do. So once you start realizing your life is in danger, when the next thing comes along that's like an opportunity for you as a teacher, you're likely to take it. And that was what happened in my case. I took it. And I'm no longer a teacher because I decided to move on. But the other thing you can do is talk to their friends, like I said, because you never know what's going on. Your child might not tell you, but you talk to their friends, you talk to the school, and then you also can talk to a mental health provider if you feel that your child is being bullied, if you feel that your child is the bully. Got to get help. You got to get help, because what's going on today is that parents are getting frustrated. The students are definitely frustrated that are being bullied, because I've seen this common scene unfolding across the United States. And, we act as advocates and activists over here for our parents. So I get the, stories on the side. I get parents saying, hey, you need to know about this. Can you help us with this? And, sometimes we'll make a call to the school because they see Successful Black Parenting magazine and they don't want to be in the press. So sometimes we have a little bit of power that we can use to help people. And when I can, I'll do that. But the common scene that I see unfolding across the United States and schools, and I mean, it's like a broken record. It's the same scenario. A child gets bullied. Okay, the parent might let it go the first time. Second time, the parent's like, okay, let me go talk to the teacher. Teacher says, well, I didn't see it. I didn't see it. Okay, so then she goes to principal. Principal says, well, teacher says she didn't see it. So basically, it must not have happened. Didn't see it. Child goes back to school. The bullying keeps going, and not only does it happen in school, but it happens online after school, on the weekends, 24/7, this child is being bullied, right? So the child gets suicidal and wants to kill themselves. Now, the suicide rates for teens is still less than whites, but from that age range of 5 to 11 I think it's doubled. Don't quote me on that, but I have to look at it again. But it's way up. There's epidemic levels. It's definitely more than whites right now, 5 to 11, which is ridiculous. So this mom in Orange County found out her daughter was being bullied. Nothing was being done. Oh, let me finish that. Hold on. Let me go back a little bit because that scene I did not finish. So what happens is, number one, child gets bullied. Parent goes to school. Nothing's done because they didn't see it. The third thing is happening. The child retaliates, right? And then that child that's being bullied retaliates. And that child who retaliated, who's being bullied, gets suspended. But nothing happens to the bully ever, right? Now your child gets labeled an aggressor, gets on their record, they miss school, they're looked upon as the bad guy. That's the other thing. So what does the child do? Then the child becomes also suicidal. So the hard thing about this is, we do our best to raise strong children. And when they feel they're being treated unfairly, they don't know a world that's unfair because, they were raised in your household. So you try to be fair as a parent. But give them all the resilience they can from day one and let them know who they are, how strong they are, how strong their culture is. Show them the positives of being a Black child in America, what we stand for. Before, slavery, that we were kings and queens and that we've done all these positive things, and let them know who they are. So that way, if they encounter any racist type of bullying, they at least have some comebacks. And we also did an article on racism about clapbacks for children, and they're positive clapbacks. So stuff that you can arm your children with, so if they ever hear these types of comments toward them, because we just gave a few examples, things they can say back to protect their self-esteem. So that's at successfulblackparenting.com too. It's clapbacks for children experiencing racism. So this mom in Orange County at Niguel Hills Middle School went up to the school, and I still don't know how she got in the classroom, but she went up to the school and had a talk with the class that was bullying her child. And she basically told them that if they do it again, she's going to be there, and she's giving out ass whippings. I'm just going to be straight up ass whippings for anyone who messes with her child from now on. She actually said, sisters, aunts, anybody over 18, I will F them up. Do you understand me? That's what she said. And she didn't stop there. She said, leave my daughter alone. I'm not going to say it again. Any mom, any sister can catch these hands, okay? Ass whoopings for free. You don't even have to pay for it. Those are her words, quote. But she took a whole other level I would have never even thought about. And she gave out free ass kicking vouchers. Yeah, she gave out tickets. And it said free ass kicking, must be 18 or over to redeem ticket. Now, when I saw this, I laughed, of course, because I'm still laughing. I was like, I would have never thought of anything like that. But I'm like, how did she get into the classroom? Because the teacher in the video, you got to find this video online, is sitting there like, I agree, but I don't know what to do. She looks totally lost. Now, that's not something the school would allow. Matter of fact, I heard on the side that she got banned from the school, but I'm not sure. I don't have anything to validate that. But that's likely the school's response anyway. But she probably told the teacher, hey, I just wanted to talk to your class in the morning. I just wanted to, just give them a pep talk or something like that, because there's no way you would be able to approach any child that was bullying your child in any school, because then that puts the other child's life in danger, right? So that's not usually allowed. And then she went up there and just went off. And like I said, I'm not mad at her because I feel like it's a war out there against our children right now. And you do whatever is necessary to protect your child. Now, I'm not advocating violence. I'm not. But you have to do whatever is in your power to make it stop, because it's just out of control. You don't want your child to die. That's a war. It's a war to protect your child's life. And like I said, I'm not advocating violence, because what I believe will happen from this point on with this mom is that no one's going to challenge her. No one's going to touch her child, because she has went up there and made it clear that they are not victims. They are not victims. And I think once that is made clear that we will not be a victim, these bullies got checked, basically. So hopefully, being banned from the school was worth it for making the bullying stop. Like I said, whatever it takes. But if it takes being banned from the school, whatever she had to do, this mom felt she had to do it. And, it had to take a lot for her to get to that point. So I'm not hating on her for her process, for what she did, because I understand the frustration and I understand it from hearing it from other parents. And I'm not going to say, oh, she's an awful parent, because no, that's being a good parent, going up to the school and protecting your child. Now, some onus needs to be put on the school. The school really should have responded. And this is for every school administrator listening, every administrator in the United States. You need to listen to your parents, because if they tell you their child is being bullied, you need to put something in place to stop it immediately. I don't care what we have to do. We need to go to the parents' home and talk to the parents in their home visits again. Do whatever it is you need to do, because this is ridiculous and it's frustrating for parents, and you're actually inviting violence to your school, because parents aren't going to take it. This is their babies. It's enough we got to fight and worry about our kids when they get stopped by police officers. It's enough that we see white supremacists on the street coming up to our children and all of these videos online, and they can't even go to the mall in peace. Now we got to go to a school where they're supposed to be safe. And that's Maslow's hierarchy. Is the bottom tier is for them to feel safe. They can't learn if they're not safe. Maslow's hierarchy of need. Our children cannot learn if they don't have the basic bottom period of that pyramid. You have to have that bottom tier of that pyramid to do anything. If children don't feel safe, they can't, what they call, actualize. They can't reach their highest potential. And if you don't know what Maslow's hierarchy of need is, please Google it. It's a pyramid that shows what children need from the bottom of the tier of the pyramid to the top. And the bottom level, the most basic thing they need is to feel safe. Besides food and shelter, they need to feel safe. And if they're not feeling safe at school, they can't learn. So what's the point? What is the point of school? You're not doing your job as an administrator if our children aren't safe. And I'm not even going to get into school shootings today, but they are not safe. We cannot not feel safe as parents sending our children to your school. And that's your responsibility, Mr. and Mrs. Administrator, school board personnel. This is your responsibility. If a parent tells you their child is being bullied, I don't want to hear, oh, well, we have this cute little program in place and it's on our website. Tell them to click that button and fill out a form. No, I need to see some action. If I fill out that form, there better be some immediate action, because I know a lot of schools will have these little forms you fill out. You can fill out anonymously and tell people are being bullied. That's a great start, but that is not the end story. We need to figure out what's going on. We cannot punish the person that is being bullied, especially when it gets to the point of retaliation and you've been told about it. That should not happen. So let's go and talk a little bit about empathy. Because if your child is that bully, somehow they're missing that point of empathy, how other people feel, and for whatever reason they're doing it for. And empathy comes from a young age. I'm not saying you can't do it now, but it starts young. It starts by helping others. It starts by going to church. If you go to church and learning about what other people go through. Donating some of your old toys and taking them in person to shelters. Helping out in a kitchen for the homeless, feeding them, food banks. Doing these charitable types of activities will help your children to learn that other people are going through something. They're going through it. Let them understand this is not a world where everyone is as lucky as you are, that everybody's not as blessed as you are. People go through things, and you never know what people are going through on a daily basis. And for you to add to their pain is just not humane. And we as adults can learn that lesson too, right? We never know what people are going through. We get a moody person approach us, maybe a waiter or a waitress, or maybe a person that's at the front desk. We don't know what they're going through. Their parents could be dying of cancer. They might have just lost a child and had to go to work. I've known people had to go to work after they got a cancer diagnosis because the job didn't care. You never know what people are going through. In school, they could be going through a divorce. They could have lost a parent. They may have to go live with somebody else or anything, losing their home. Talk to your children. Let them know that bullying is not acceptable. Our children are dying. And that's the thing out here. Like, they're even telling other kids. Kids are telling other kids things like, go hang yourself. And it's nothing to Google that on YouTube, how to hang yourself, or on Google, like, how do you hang yourself? They're saying those kind of things. Go hang yourself. Go kill yourself. Those are sentences that should not be coming out of children's mouths. Should not. And we as parents have to take the lead and make sure that our children aren't being bullied. Talk to them. We have to make sure our children are not the bullies. You got to talk to them. You got to sometimes do some espionage. I don't want to hear any mess from people talking about, oh, your child won't trust you if you spy on them. You know what? This is what I told my daughter when I bugged the phone when she was 16. Yes, I bugged the phone. You can ask her. She'll tell you. It's a war out there to make sure your children are raised correctly. Okay? And if she don't pay any bills in my house, I get to do what I want. Understand? I'm raising her. She's not raising me. So trust goes both ways, right? And when she was older, she understood why I did what I did and didn't even hold it against me nor remembered it. But she remembered it once I brought it up. But let me tell you, do whatever you got to do to make sure your child is okay. It's a war out there. You got to do what you got. You got to be pit bull mama, mama bear, whatever you want to call it, papa bear, whatever you want to be, animal that you think is the biggest, baddest that protects their kid. Be that. It is scary. And you can't let your child fall because the system failed them. All right? And that's what I wanted to talk about today. I'll be back again next week, and we'll talk about some more things that is in the news. But thank you for coming on Back Talk, the talk show for parents. Don't forget to share this broadcast with your friends and followers, especially those who need to hear it. Let's get the word out. If you're if you're listening, because this is not even a video today, but if you're listening, follow us on social media at Black Parenting One. We were the first Black parenting magazine in the nation at successfulblackparenting.com. You can find us on Black Parenting One on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. So until next time, I'll see you soon. And you'll hear me soon. Bye-bye.
Thanks for tuning in to Back Talk by Successful Black Parenting Magazine. We'll see you soon.